Welcome back to another action-packed episode of the Deadly Podcast of Kung Fu, brought to you by the Villains Man, where myself, Justin Raymer, attempts to traverse the continuity of Marvel's most prolific martial artist in Iron Fist and Shang Chi. If you want to keep up with the podcast, you can do so over on social media accounts, Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. If you want to keep up with myself, Justin Raymer, you can do so over on Twitter, X, and Instagram. If you want to listen to me roll some dice, have some fart jokes, some dick jokes, and play some serious TTRPGs such as Dungeons & Dragons, Star Wars, you can do so over on The Last Tavern on the Left podcast. We're currently still involved with the Infinity Crisis of the Omniverse. My players are playing Dr. Doom, Kid Goku, and Turtle Ranger Donatello respectively, and are hunting down the Dragon Balls as they make their way to Corrin's Tower and Kami's Lookout. If you love comics and manga, this is a game inspired by those. I think you'll really enjoy it. But you can subscribe to Last Tavern on the Left and follow them wherever you follow Deadly Pod on social media. But enough of that. Today we're wrapping up the Avengers Assembled Volume 3 series with issues 4 and 5. As we last left the last issue, we got that first fight with Shang Chi and Tiger Snake. I was very excited about that. Cannot wait to talk about that more. So let's go ahead and dive into number 4. The issue was released on December 4th, 2024, along with 15 other titles from Marvel Comics. They are all New Venom Volume 1, number 1. I've talked about this in Power Man Timeless, number 1. So if you want to hear my thoughts on the issue, please go listen to that episode. Continuing on with the list, we got Avengers Volume 9, number 21. So we had 2 Avengers issues drop on this day. We also had Conquest 2099, Volume 1, number 4. I need to get around to reading all this 2099 Conquest stuff. My really good friends who I made through collecting and reading comics, I mean, those are the best friends you can make, right? So, he really enjoyed it, so I guess I'm going to have to go check it out, because I love me some Spider-Man 2099. Marvel Holiday Tales to Astonish, Volume 1, number 1. Marvel Zombies, Dawn of Decay, Volume 1, number 4. Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Volume 2, number 27. New York Mutant, or NYX, or Nyx, depending on how you want to say it, Volume 2, number 6. Spider-Gwen, the Ghost Spider, Volume 1, number 8. Spidey and His Amazing Friends, Volume 1, number 2. Star Wars Battle of Jakku, Republic Under Siege, Volume 1, number 3. Ultimates, Volume 4, number 7. Werewolf by Night, Red Band, Volume 1, number 5. Go read that, it's really good. Wolverine, Volume 8, number 4. And wrapping up the list is not Wolverine, but 2 other X titles. They are X-Force Volume 7, number 6, and X-Men Volume 7, number 8. Much like the rest of these issues, there is no title for this story. But your creative team is writer Steve Orlando. Pencils and inks go to Valentina Pinti. Your colorist is Sonia Obach. And for Sefentez Sujo, I apologize if I butchered that. That is a very hard name to pronounce, and I apologize. The letters go to Corey Patet, and your editor is Alana Smith. The cover is done by the returning Lionel Francis Yu and Romulo Ferraro Jr. The cover depicts Wonder Man and Photon charging a Victorious as she's surging with energy as Dr. Doom watches on in the background. We know this is kind of setting up one world under Doom. All Hell Doom. And the cover fits what's mainly going on in the story. This issue also had 2 other variants, none of them as cool as Shang-Chi Master of Disco Skating from issue 1. But let's move on to the story. Captain America and Commander Han investigate the whereabouts of the Serpent Society and come up empty-handed. Monica contacts Steve, informing him about Victorious's accident in Lichtenbahn. As she leads half the Avengers Emergency Response Squad to deal with Dr. Doom's former ambassador, Shang-Chi follows Cap and the rest of the team to tackle the snakes. 50 kilometers away from Lichtenbahn, the Master of Kung Fu and the Avengers make quick work of Tiger Snake and the Serpent Society. Hawkeye and Captain America realize that victory was too easy as Tiger Snake mocks them. Suddenly, Titana Boa erupts from the ground with the rest of the Serpent Society. With their mission now complete, Pit Viper monologues about the serpent tears as he shows them off. Naming Shang-Chi as the first offering to Mephisto, the society leader throws one of the magical items at him. Looking to save his friend, Captain America leaps in front of Commander Hand. Unfortunately for Steve, he falls into the Serpent Society's trap, as Titanoboa predicted Steve would sacrifice himself for those in danger. He screams and thrashes about as his body begins to transform into a serpentine humanoid to the delight of Pit Viper. So, there's nothing of importance here regarding Shang Chi or to further the story. That's kind of nothing with this entire series whatsoever. There's nothing wrong with that. But, he doesn't square off with Tiger Snake in the skirmish. That's upsetting, especially after the skirmish we got, or round 1 in issue 3. One thing I would like to see, or I'm going to hypothesize about maybe, is if the 10 rings would have prevented the serpent tears from transforming Commander Hand. I'm going to go off what Pit Viper says here in 4, and then a bit of it from issue 5, because I did read issue 5 after this. As Steve's changing, Pit Viper says, "The tears are a compound toxin, part possession, part gene therapy. They bring holistic ruin to the cells. In other words, there is no Steve Rogers here, not anymore." To continue on from issue 5, Captain America was just a first. The serpent's tears will take you all. They will foul the soul and flesh of anyone they touch for the highest bidder. There's no choice, Avengers. Submit to our Lord Mephisto. So they change you on a genetic level, and they seem to control your mind. So what I would assume, and I'm just hypothesizing, that these would probably change Shang-Chi's genetic and make him into in D&T Pathfinder terms, a Yuan-Ti, a snake person, snake folk. But I don't think it would change his mind. And I'm going to take you back to issue 1 of this story, where Sin, with the powers of Arita, tried to take over his mind, and she could not do it. She's an elder god. Not saying she's on the level of Mephisto. Mephisto's pretty powerful. I mean, he fights the Silver Surfer when in his debut and all this other good stuff. We see him, stand side by side with Thanos, who he could probably rival himself. But we're talking magic here. But I think he can fight off the mind control with the rings. Now, genetically, I don't know. I mentioned everything that happened in Shadowland with Mr. Negative, where Mr. Negative's transformed his body, and his powers were taken also by Shang-Chi. And that's not the case here. But if the rings couldn't prevent the transformation physically, I would like to think that he can fight it off mentally. Also with the transformation, I brought up with Jean Luen Yang's run with the the vampires and whatnot. He was fighting off that transformation, and eventually he broke free of it. So yeah, I can see him changing into a Yuan-Ti, but I think he would still keep his mind. As for Steve Rogers, I mean, and there's a joke made by Hawkeye, I believe, about this not being a full moon in issue 5, but I mean, he was a werewolf, and now he's a serpent person. As for Tiger Snake, I do think it's awesome that he is moving up pretty fast as Serpent Society. That will probably lead to some treachery. We see that he's already ruffled some feathers in the last 2 issues up to this point. So someone is probably going to turn on him, is what I thought when I was reading this. That changes with issue 5. Spoiler alert. Now, after seeing what he could do with his hands in issue 3, I do like seeing that it takes both Captain America and Night Thrasher to keep him off balance during this fight. Like I said, sadly, Shang-Chi doesn't get a fighting, but Captain America throws a shield, hits him in the face, staying away from those hands. Night Thrasher cracks him at the elbows to try to keep his hands down. So I like that they're trying to keep him off balance, but we realize it's all a ploy, as Titanoboa shows up and throws them all off guard and turns the behavior for the Serpent Society. So let's move on to issue 5. It was released on January 15th, 2025, along with 14 other titles from Marvel Comics. They are Alien Paradiso, Volume 1, Number 2, Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 6, Number 65, point, whatever you want to call it, Deaths, Exceptional X-Men, Volume 1, Number 5, Immortal 4, Volume 1, Number 19, Incredible Hulk, Volume 4, Number 21, War Kenny, Wolverine, Volume 1, Number 2, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Volume 2, Number 29, Rogue, The Savage Land, Volume 1, Number 1, Spirits of Vengeance, Volume 2, Number 5. Star Wars, Battle of Jakku, Last Stand, Volume 1, Number 3. Storm, Volume 5, Number 4. Love Storm. Her and Magic are my favorite X-Women. In general, they're just my favorite members of the X-Men. Love that they're both getting solo series, and I'm really enjoying them both. Moving on, Ultimate Wolverine, Volume 1, Number 1. I was told to read this. Man, as much as I enjoyed this new run of the Ultimates, there's just so much coming out, and it's a lot to keep up with, so maybe at one point I will. Continuing on the list, What If? Galactus Transform Moon Knight, Volume 1. Up until I was doing this, I forgot these were even a thing at this point. I have no desire to read them, but wrapping up the list is Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Volume 1, Number 2. As for the creative team, as I've said, there's no title for the story as of yet. Once that trade paperback comes out and we get a reference to what the name is, if they name it, I'll probably change the titles of these episodes, but the creative team is still the same. But your pencils go to Jose Luis, or Luis, not sure how he pronounces that, but I'm going to go with Luis. And inks are by Oren Jr., who's returned, I think, from issue 1 off the top of my head. As I said, most creative team, writer, colorist, letter, and obviously the editor are all the same. Editor, Alana Smith. Do I need to hit you up? Maybe you'll give me a chance to write some Shang Chi. Maybe somebody listening to this knows Alana Smith. And they're like, hey, this guy runs this podcast, covers a lot of the history of the character. He's got some ideas. Give him a shot. I work cheap. The cover is done by the returning Lionel and Romulo and features exactly what we got at the end of this book, Yonti Steve Rogers, or Lizard Steve Rogers is a better way to put that, because he looks like the Lizard in Night Thrasher's woven fabric coat with the Captain America suit on. Looks like it slimmed him down quite a bit too. He doesn't got all that muscle mass. But there's also one other variant cover released with this issue. As for the story, with Cap transformed, Shang-Chi and the remaining Avengers find themselves outclassed by Titanoboa and the Serpent Society. Unfortunately for them, Monica and the rest of the team arrive right before the battle begins. So the two sides collide, and I'm going to switch over here to the panels instead of giving you a whole synopsis. And it's a great big splash page of the Avengers Emergency Response Squad versus the massive Serpent Society. And at the bottom, in the foreground, is what I want to talk about, Shang-Chi versus Tiger Snake. And I give it to Steve Orlando. He gave these guys 2 pages, and they're pretty much splash pages. The first one is a splash page that lets you follow the action all the way down it. Tiger Snake comes charging at him, come for another beating Shang-Chi, and he goes to hit him with a palm thrust. His hands have this outline of energy on them. So it's interesting when you read comics to see how artists interpret things different. So if we go back to issue 3, the artist, off the top of my head, let me jump back here, all over to issue 3, which is, my notes, Marcelo Ferreira. So that's where we get where his hands look like they're covered in the poison or slime, gack, if you love Nickelodeon. And then here, in issue 5, they look totally different as Jose Luis draws them almost like they're surrounded by energy. We don't ever see them ooze with anything. So, interesting thing to point out when it comes to comics. But anyways, Shang-Chi dodges the blow, and then he hits him with the headbutt. Tiger Snake does hit Shang-Chi with the headbutt. Nah, round 2 is what Shang-Chi says. You surprised me the last time, Tiger Snake, as he locks up both of Tiger Snake's arms underneath his armpits, and he kind of hooks him. And then he snaps both of his arms at the elbows. Now, what I'm going to assume in my head is during the skirmish before the rest of the Serpent Society and the rest of the Avengers showed up, we seen Night Thrasher, I just mentioned it earlier in the episode, attack Tiger Snake with a club at the elbows. And it's like Shang-Chi picked up on that. I don't know if Steve Orlando did that on purpose, if this was some communication with the artist as they got to look at, issue 4, Luis did. But, and then he snaps them at the elbows, and Shang-Chi says, I learned fast. Tiger Snake screams out in pain. Tiger Snake kicks him again, and we have this energy flare up between them, and Maybe he can produce the poison from his feet. We're not really sure, but he says, "You fight for nothing. I fight, I live for a higher power." And then Shang-Chi dives below his legs. I'm not really certain how that action beat works there, from being kicked backwards to diving underneath Tiger Snake's feet. But he says, "A lower one, maybe. You make poison. You're no priest, you're no monk. All this skill, Tiger, but all you innovate is death." As he comes underneath Tiger Snake from sliding, kicks him in the back. Tiger Snake's all hunched over at the end of this big, beautiful splash panel. "I honor my maker, fool. Each life spoiled by the tears honors the great red serpent, honors Mephisto." Shang-Chi in the next page, it's almost a full splash page. We get two small panels at the top that don't take away from this beautiful page. Shang-Chi charges him, and I'm going to assume it's both palms open, and hits him with the power of the 10 rings, and we get this cracoon, and then we see Tiger Snake in the next small panel, laid out. He's smoldering. Shang-Chi standing over him. The rings are glowing. And Tiger Snake says, "Why, my lord? Abandon me." And then we see Shang-Chi. He's bowing in respect to Tiger Snake as Tiger Snake lays on the dirt before him. That strike was meant to defeat, not destroy. Any human opponent, at least. So what's that make you, Tiger? And as he's standing over Tiger Snake and he says this, we have like this yellowish green mist rolling off of Tiger Snake. We don't know if he's dead. We don't know if he's alive, if this is his spirit leaving him, his essence, because we don't ever see him after this anymore. So clearly he's not human, is what Shang-Chi is saying. We don't know if that's a power that allows him to separate possession. Maybe that's what it is. And that's kind of a power we're seeing here with the 10 rings. Or what? But I'm very curious. Because as the Avengers defeat the Serpent Society, I love the breakdown of Simon Williams drinking the tears. Don't know what that was all about. They build a machine. Photon hits him with some Vita rays, and they wind up getting Steve changed back over. But we still never find out what this is about. So, are we going to get around 3? We don't know. Because this is the end of the miniseries that hit LCSs. And I hope at some point Tiger Snake comes back, fights Shang-Chi, and we get an explanation for that. Hey, Marvel wants to hire me. I'll write this. It'll be the start of my story, and maybe I can write, a 50-issue run of Shang-Chi, because I want to combine the old stuff with the new stuff. But anyways, after these were released, there's a page here in the book. The Avengers will return in Astonishing Avengers. And we get a kind of sneak peek with the word astonishing at the very end of this book with a big splash page. For some reason, the Avengers are all standing on the mansion as Jarvis is telling the story. And it says, launching this month in Marvel Unlimited Infinity Comics. And the cover features She-Hulk and Captain America, who are on the team. But we get Elektra Daredevil, it seems, joining the team. Read the first issue right now after redeeming the code in this issue, which I already have, Marvel Unlimited. I will cover these issues. They are new stuff. But how I will cover them, I don't know. As for this series, I did 5 issues and 3 episodes. The first one was a lot of Shang-Chi, little Shang-Chi over the next 4 issues. So depending on what happens there, and I've not read these yet, I might cover an issue at a time. Might cover 2 or 3 issues at a time. It just depends, because these last 2 episodes I've covered in a pretty decent amount of time with 2 issues, to speed up the process of, doing the podcast. So we'll just see. But that'll wrap up this episode of the Deadly Podcast Kung Fu, brought to you by the Villains Man. You can check out the podcast on social media accounts, Twitter, X, Instagram, and Threads. If you like my music, check out Rushing Tiger by Kuro over on SoundCloud and YouTube. But in the end, guys, support your favorite podcasts, support your local comic book shops, and keep reading comics, guys.